Hey guys, Steve here from theturtlefollower.com with the strategy session for Tuesday, October 14th. Finally got a little bit of a bounce today in the markets. Unfortunately, it was sold into as we kind of predicted in the stock market outlook video. And that's to be expected after this much selling pressure. You know, anybody who's overly long or looking to unload positions is going to use any sort of strength to sell into. So you could see here, S&P 500 came down, tested the lows of right around 1860, and then today we bounced higher, closed probably right in the middle of today's range. At one point we were up almost 25 points up to 1892 and closed up about 12. So I still think that this support area needs to hold. You could see where that goes back to, and I think we probably test this backside of this downtrend line. From there, who knows? You know, I don't think this is going to be the V-shaped reversal we've seen so many times before. I think this may meander up and then maybe sideways, kind of be a little choppy. So although I did think that we were going to probably have some good strength going into the end of the year based on bouncing off of this trend line here, the fact that we broke down, pretty much making a new low, to me basically solidifies that we're going to be in a choppy market for the foreseeable future. For right now, though, I'm expecting a couple more days of strength, at least to test this 1900, 1910 area, and then see where we go from there. But the one thing I would caution you to is we're probably going to see a lot of days that look like this, where you move higher and then sell off towards the end of the day. That just seems to be the case when we've had pullbacks where everything is being sold towards the end of the day, and so just caution yourself and just be aware of it. The Nasdaq also down, basically tested this backside of 3850 and sold off from there. So again, down towards the bottom of the range, and the Dow closed up measly 28 points. Again, still holding that 16,236 area, which I think needs to hold, similar to the S&P, but the Nasdaq did break down, the Russell broke down, so I wouldn't be surprised to see those follow through as well. Now I did at one point, you could see here on the Russell how this broke down from a couple different support areas and is now trying to make its way back pretty much right at the second standard deviation on this linear regression channel. The one thing I just want to point out is I did send out a tweet, I don't remember when, maybe around lunch or a little after, and I said basically that the market to me felt that it wasn't really that strong of a move. Even when we were up 25 points, it just wasn't convincing, and there were two reasons for that. One being I look at what I have in my portfolio that I consider to be the strongest stocks. They were kind of a mixed bag today. There was stocks that have been going down that were up, and stocks that have been going up and they were down. So it was kind of backwards, from what I would look at. The other thing I wanted to point out to you guys is up here, right where my cursor is, you could see 1.68 to 1 and 1.7 to 1. And essentially that means that for every advancing stock, there's 1.68 advancing stocks to every one declining stock, since it's green. If it was the other way, it would be, if it was red, it would be 1.68 decliners to every one advancer. So the fact that you only see 1.68 to 1, to me, again, tells me that the breadth is not very, the move is not very deep. It's just very shallow in a way. Breadth does not reach a lot of stocks. When you actually see a true day, where it's a big moving day, similar to the days we've had, in the past on the S&P. This could be as high as 10 to 1 or 8 to 1, and even on the reverse, when we have these nice big green bars, open green bars, nice moves, again, 7 to 1, 6 to 1. Those are the kind of days that you say, hey, you know what? We got something behind us here. We never really had that on the breadth here, and that's what these are called, the 1.6 to 1 and 1.7 to 1. That's the breadth of the market. And again, being that today was green, it means every 1.68 stocks that were advancing, there was one decliner, and so on and so forth. So that's something else besides the ticks that I look at, and maybe we'll do a video on that. But again, it's not something you necessarily need to know. It's just nice to know when you have some real strength coming in to the market, and when it's really just kind of window dressing. So as far as our positions go, let's go through those real quick. We did exit. We'll go through the exit first. We exited LUV this morning. Sure enough, it seems like we couldn't do anything right on this trade. So that's my bad. First of all, we should have really exited 31.78. We would have never been talking about this. But sure enough, we had the exit signal trigger yesterday on a close below 29.39. Today it opened at 29.38 and moved as high as 31.29. So it did close down on the day, but unfortunately right now it's back right above 29.39 where we figured it would hold. So I'm hoping that this wasn't just a look below and then rally back in our face type of thing. Downtrend line is still intact. Earnings are coming up, but we'll see how that plays out. But unfortunately that trade, while it looked so good in the beginning, it was equally as bad at the end. So again, we should have exited, taken the exit, taken a couple bucks out of it at 31.78, and we wouldn't have even been talking about it. All right, so as far as our other positions that we're in, Alcoa, we're short. Okay, Alcoa was down another 1.38%. All right, so let's talk about, we talked about last night how I traded these a little bit differently than if it were a long position, just because now we do have some obvious reference points that we can use as potential profit targets. And when I'm short a trade, typically always do look to take it off at a target. All right, so the first target I would look at would be this 1388, going back to this consolidation from the beginning of April and start of May. All right, so that's the top of that consolidation. So 1388 would be my first target. Second target would be 1308, which was the support of that. And then the next target, and I think ultimate, where you would want to pretty much take the rest of your position off, would be 1237. You could see that was a small consolidation from the middle of March and April, and also the larger consolidation back from the beginning of the year. So I think ultimately, if you don't want to take it off at 1380, that's fine. I think 1308 you should really start taking something off, and at 1237 you should probably have most of your position off. And when you do take them off, you trailer stop right behind it and really tighten up the stops as we start breaking into these support areas. All right, so for Alcoa right now, I'm going to set a alert, or I'll put an order out there. It'll be a limit order to sell half of our position at 1308 and the other remaining half at 1237. And if we get any of those hit, I'll let you guys know. All right. The other short trade we're in is Estee Lauder. Again, that one broke down. Had a nice move yesterday. Today closed right in the middle of the range. So, if this wanted to move sideways and then break down, I think that's fine. You could see here my first profit target was 70.43, and then the next target would be 66.67. So again, I'll set an alert or an order out there, probably right above, maybe like 70.50 to take half of our position off at that point, and take the other half off, say at like 67, and then we'll go from there. But again, just remember, earnings are coming up, and we do not hold those positions over earnings. Now, one trade that I did take short that before we started talking about this was ADM. All right, so ADM, as we were long, we had the breakdown here. That's actually where I got short, and then I continued. I held it, and I actually exited the trade here at 45.25. All right, so of course I left some on the table, but I took a little bit off at 46.34 and the remaining off at 45.25. So again, left a little on the table, not an issue. The fact is, it's a quick trade to the downside, and that's really what I'm looking at. But I never would have thought that when we exited ADM, and it's a good thing that we did take that exit at 49.20, that in 4 trading days, we're back down here at 43. So lost almost 6% or $6 since we broke that level. So as far as our long positions go, Apple up down 1.06. Apple is kind of worrying me a little bit. I really want it to, especially on a day where there was some strength. The fact that it did not move higher is concerning, but below 98 is our stop, and you can see they do have earnings coming up on the 20th, and also remember Thursday they have the iPad event coming up. Costco down 0.57, basically right back in the middle of the range after these two topping tails. Again, I didn't put too much weight into those topping tails. I felt they were actually constructive to the upside because the stock did close higher on due days that the market was down big. But sure enough, we actually came back down and we're sitting right on the trend line. Home Depot down 0.55%. You could see tested the bottom of this channel, so it looks like we had a false breakout here. We're all of a sudden testing that channel, and we're very close to our stop. So if we start breaking down under 88, could probably be the quickest trade that we've ever had, get us stopped out. But that's the fact of we're taking long positions when the market isn't really conducive to it. So we're still going to try and take those trades, but we're keeping our stops tight. So under $88, we'll exit Home Depot. Kroger was up 0.93, just continues to consolidate right above 52.69 and the recent breakout. Nothing really to say here. Fact is, it moved up today on a day it should have. We're well above trend line, well above 50-day, and well above the stop area. Pepsi was down 1%. Again, came right into that 92.54, which was this small consolidation here, and trend line support. We're using 88 as our stop level in Pepsi. All right, $88 is the stop, and that was sized, and the position was sized accordingly to allow some fluctuations in that price. And the last one, RSG, up 0.66%. As I discussed the other day, this one is really pinned under the downtrend line. You could see that even more with today's action, where we came right up to the trend line and then sold off. All right, so again, this is a good candidate to take a short trade. If we can get a close below 37.86, we'll be exiting our long position first of all, and second of all, we'll be exiting or entering a short position with a stop above 38 or 39. All right, so that's our positions. Again, kind of a mixed bag today. Nothing really stood out in my opinion. If we look at some of the bullish watch list stocks, CCI was close to breaking out, didn't happen. DFS was up 1.21%, coming right off trendline support. JWN also, it's been just moving sideways for a better part of 3 months, so really just waiting for that to break out. Centurylink testing the bottom of its channel here, bottom of its consolidation. You can see here, I'm surprised, or I'm not surprised, but I'm surprised how accurately the linear regression channel actually does kind of give maybe a top or signal a potential reversal, and that's exactly what happened. We had CCI come up and hit that level, and now it looks like it's pulling back, and maybe it wants to go down to 34 or 35. And again, that's also something that happened on Home Depot, except Home Depot's channel was going higher, but we are pushing into that overbought area. So Home Depot may need a little bit of time to just move sideways. A couple that are setting up very nicely. ABC is one. You could see a nice tight channel. ACE is another. All right, tight channel, breakout over 107.27, and the other one, Allstate, real tight channel between 62.33 and 60.81. Earnings coming up, but that one looks real nice. And the last one, DPS, setting up a nice little tight consolidation. Break over 65.25 is a good spot to get long, and we'll probably put a stop somewhere down here around 62. So that's it for tonight, guys. Really no trade set up. Really just a wait and see mode. I think we got to see where the market wants to go. Feels like it wants to go lower, but as I said, with today's action, we got a little bit of a mixed bag, and just didn't feel like the reversal I was looking for. So we'll see if maybe tomorrow brings out something different. But for right now, just stay the course, keep those stops tight, and we'll see you tomorrow. All right, thanks for watching. Take care, guys.